Welcome to episode 242. Today I'm interviewing author Therese Beharrie about her holiday novel, A Wedding, One Christmas. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction podcast. Here on Book Chat, we get bookish with roundtable book discussions, recommendation lists, interviews, and more. Be sure to check out shelfaddiction.com for even more content. Before we get started, let me tell you a bit about today's interview guest. Being an author has always been Therese's dream, but it was only when the corporate world loomed during her final year at university that she realized how soon she wanted that dream to become reality. She got serious about writing and entered the Harlequin So You Think You Can Write competition and got the attention of an editor. Now she writes books she wants to see in the world, featuring people who look like her for a living. When she's not writing, she's spending time with her husband and dogs in Cape Town, South Africa. You can find her on Twitter and Facebook or catch up with her on her weekly writing blog. If you'd like to comment on something you've heard during today's episode, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shelf Addiction. The links for everything related to today's episode, including Therese's social media links, are below in the show notes. Hey Therese, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to talk to you. And I think you are the furthest away author I've ever talked to. So I'm super excited about that.
I'm excited as well that you are my very first podcast. So this is going to be exciting for both of us, I think.
Yes. Okay. I love beautiful accents and you have one. So tell me where you are from.
Oh my goodness, thank you very much. It's always strange to me when people tell me I have a cool accent, because for me, the American accent and the UK accent's always so awesome. But I am from South Africa. I am right at the very tip in Cape Town. And yeah, so on a completely different continent.
Yes. You know what? Cape Town is on my bucket list. So maybe one day I'll get there.
Yes, you should come. It's awesome here. We have like oceans and animals, and it's really an awesome tourist destination. It's lovely to live here as well, but as a tourist, it's really awesome as well.
Wonderful. Yes. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about you. Why don't you share with us what you're reading right now?
Oh, okay. So I will do what I was reading, because that was really, really awesome. What I am reading and what I'm going to read next, because I'm extra like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I am currently reading is A Harlequin Desire. It's by Joss Wood, who's also a South African author, and it's called His Ex's Well-Kept Secret. So it's like a secret baby / amnesia romance. It's very dramatic and it's really enjoyable, just like Harlequin Desires are. And then I just finished reading Suleika Snyder's Take a Chance on Me, which is awesome. I really just love the romance community and what we're doing right now. And I just picked up a Talia Hibbert book. So I am set for the holidays.
Yes. You know, those holiday books, they really get you in the mood. I mean, I think that's probably why you chose to write this. Am I right?
Yes. I really thought that, like, I was, and I just wanted everybody to know what Christmas was like in South Africa. Right. So it's very different from like colder Snow White Christmases that are usually what is being sold at this time, like the holiday romances and all the Hallmark movies. But here we are in like 30, 40 degree Celsius weather, which I think is like in the hundreds. Oof. In Fahrenheit. I'm not sure.
Okay. That's hot.
But yes, it is hot. It's like peak summertime at Christmas here. So it's like, swimming pools and like outside celebrations. And so I just really wanted to give readers and like anybody who really wants to see what Christmas is like outside of South Africa.
Oh, that's so nice. Yes. Okay. So do you have any go-to authors that you kind of auto buy when they have new book releases?
Yes. I mean, I think every author does. I like I just mentioned, like Suleika Snyder and Talia Hibbert are definitely on that list for me. Nora Roberts used to be like my top go-to author. I don't know if you've ever read anything by her.
I have, yes. Hmm.
Yeah. She's like the queen of storytelling and romance. She's such a prolific writer. So I kind of enjoy anything that's um, really romantic that she's written. She's kind of detoured now, or sort of diversified. But yeah, so those authors are really my favorites, and I learned so much from them as well, reading their amazing books.
Oh, nice. So I do want to know, when did you realize that you wanted to be a published author?
Oh, that is such an interesting way of phrasing that question. People usually like just say, when did you know you wanted to be a writer? And but like published was a very different experience for me, because when I was in my final year of studying at university, I realized that I did not want to get a job, like a corporate job. I was not interested in that at all. So the idea of doing something that wasn't my passion, because at that point I had known that I wanted to be an author, but a published author was really that moment for me. So I'm really glad you asked it that way. So it was a couple of years ago where I just really sat down and tried to see whether or not I could actually finish a book from start to finish, and whether I liked it, and tried to see about getting it published and what that process would be.
Mm. Yeah, was it easy or hard for you to get your first book published?
I think my experience was well, not very easy, but it was a lot easier than normal, because I entered through a competition. So I did Harlequin's So You Think You Can Write competition in 2014 and in 2015. And I skipped the slush pile by doing that, because it was a very short time period that the editors would read our books and give us feedback on. Whereas, when you enter or when you submit normally, you go into a stack of submissions and can take up to 8 months for them to get back to you. I mean, sometimes even more. I had maybe 2 months of waiting, and I heard back from that. And through that competition and that experience, I got an editor's attention, and we kind of worked together on publishing my first book.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So let's talk more about A Wedding One Christmas. So did you have to do anything special to kind of set the stage to write this book? Because I'm assuming you did not write this around the holidays.
I did not. I wrote this book. This book started out as a 30,000 word novella, which I wrote between my commitments with another publisher. So I write category romance as well, for Harlequin Romance. And so in between those books, which were contracted, which was where I was initially published, I wrote this book. And I wrote it, I think, probably in March to June, July. So it was very far away from Christmas, but it was fun to kind of go there, because that's our time that we go into winter. So to be able to write a nice Christmas, fun, warm romance versus like in the cold, it's actually really cool. It was really nice, because I could imagine myself being on a beach somewhere, or like in the summertime, which is really awesome. But yeah, so that was a very different process.
Did you put up like Christmas trees and play Christmas music or anything
No,
like that?
not at all. Forced myself to wake up extra early to write this book. So before I started my day, I would write this book, and there was no time to do Christmas decorations or music. My strategy was to try and write before I was fully awake, so that I wouldn't think too much about it. So I would
Mhm.
just like be like, oh, okay, this is a Christmas book. I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to write it. And that's kind of how it happened. But when I was doing revisions for it, it was closer to Christmas, so I could like inject a little bit more festivity into it.
So tell us a little bit about what the book is about. You can keep it, spoiler free, so
Okay.
you don't have to spoil anything big, but
Okay.
what's it about?
Well, it's a fake relationship romance. So it's about two strangers who are trying to avoid a wedding. and they pretend to be in a relationship to get away from the guests who keep trying to draw them into this relationship. Into the wedding, sorry. And then, so it's basically a day that they spend together because this romance takes place over 24 hours. And they're both returning home for Christmas. So they have these emotional issues they're trying to face. But for the most part, this is just a really light, fluffy, fun, sincere Christmas romance. And I really enjoyed writing it because of that.
Just kind of like feel good, right? With a happily ever after, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Every romance has to have a happily ever after, or happily for now, which is kind of where we see these characters moving towards before going to the happily ever after.
Do you think that your story is also a tad comedic?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, I was really trying to write a romantic comedy because I had just come off writing a really sort of super emotional book for Harlequin romance, and it was very heavy, and so I wanted to break that mental space. So I started writing this book, and I was specifically going for something that was lighthearted. Unfortunately, whenever I do that, there's some like really deep emotions that slip in. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely comedic moments, and but for the most part, it is really fun.
I have to ask, I always ask this when I'm talking about romance, and we all know the amount of sexiness in a book is subjective, but as you're the writer, what do you think the heat level is on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, like a 4. I
Mm-hmm.
think 5 is like a pretty decent way of saying like they actually have sex.
Mm-hmm.
So from 5 to 10 would be like how intense that sex is. But
Yes.
for mine it's like they don't, but the making out is pretty intense. The full,
Ooh,
yeah, the foreplay.
awesome. Okay, so let's talk about Angie. She is the main protagonist
Yeah.
in the book. Is it from her point of view, or is it kind of written differently than that?
It's a dual point of view. So it's from Angie and my hero Isra's point of view. And I really enjoyed writing her because she's the character who says whatever comes to her mind. So if you are talking nonsense, she'll tell you, she'll put you on your place. And she was very cathartic because, in real life, you can't necessarily do that. Like you have to be
Mm-hmm.
careful of what people are going to think and say. And she's not like that. So that was really, really freeing to write. It was awesome. She's such a awesome heroine.
My kind of character. Actually, I'd love to
Yeah.
do that in real life. I would love it.
I would love to do it as well, especially like with family members. I really hope they don't listen to this, but like, like over Christmas time with family members, and they're like, "Oh, you look so nice," but like you gained like so much weight, and then you're just like, "But why did you have to say that?" Like,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
that's like peak family over Christmas time. So like having someone who actually says, "Okay, but you didn't have to say that," that would be awesome. So yeah, I'm jealous of you. Well done.
Yes. Actually, I know some people that deal with that by having some pre-dinner drinks.
That's an excellent strategy.
Yes. 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 Uh-huh. So let's talk a little bit about Ezra now. So what kind of guy is he?
Oh, he's a cinnamon roll. He's a sweetie pie. He's a woman study professor, so he kind of is aware of the social and power dynamics, but he kind of still gets lost in the societal sort of pressures of or the I think probably gets lost in being a man in the world at the moment, and Angie immediately puts a stop to that, and he's very apologetic afterwards because he knows that he's probably put his foot into it. So he's so sweet and responsive to that, and he's very aware of his privilege as a man a lot of the times. And when he isn't, Angie will tell him. So he's really sweet, and he's had his heart broken. So he's like in a really nice, sensitive zone of like not wanting to do that to anyone else, which was really lovely as well to see in a hero.
Oh, that's really nice. So like he's really I guess in tune with his feelings.
Yes, he is. Like
Oh.
a lot of my heroes are because I've heard readers like tell me, "Oh my word, he's so intuitive. Why can't men be like that in real life?" And
You know, that's how romances get us. We all think that the guys should be how they are in the books, and they should be.
well, you do get them. Like my husband, for example, is very like sensitive when it comes to my feelings. So you might not do it with everybody, but like if I tell him, listen, I'm not feeling this, he'll always like be okay. Let's talk about it kind of way. So that's the kind of man I'm used to being in a romantic relationship with. So when people ask
Oh,
me, yeah, he's very sweet. He's really charming. So that's where he gets me. So I'm also not going to make him listen to this so he doesn't hear the compliments because I need to keep him on his
oh
toes.
no. That's funny.
He needs to be on his toes all the time so he won't know about the compliments I'm giving him. But generally, he is very sweet. So when people tell me they don't exist, I'm like, no, they do. You just kind of have to force them to be that way and like,
Hmm.
engage with them if you can, obviously. But yeah, they do
Hmm.
exist.
That's good. Give the ladies some hope out there.
Yes, guys, it's hope.
Yes. So the chemistry between Ezra and Angie, like, what kind of relationship do they have when they first meet? Like, are they kind of like just witty with each other and banter, or are they kind of instantly attracted to each
Yes,
other?
absolutely. There's a lot of banter. I think that was important to me as well with making it a lighter book and making it more comedic. So they have excellent chemistry because they are these two strangers who need each other to avoid this thing that they absolutely do not want to do. And they are quips and sort of with Angie's personality being what it is, she kind of puts him on his place all the time and he responds to that and they tease and joke with one another. So that for me is one of the best parts of the book. Writing it was sort of tweaking their relationship and making sure that they gave as good as they got.
Okay, so is your book more like lots of drama, or is it like a more mature love story?
I think it would probably be more, well, it's more realistic, if that makes sense. So it's very much what you'd see in the world, because my characters have conversations and deep conversations and they really work for their relationship. And that's what I wanted the readers to get from the book, was that it's not going to be an instant love situation, but it's going to be an instant connection. So that foundation for a relationship is there, and that's what you'll see as a reader. You'll see them falling for one another and realizing that they actually do want a future together. So yeah, like it's real in that sense. Like it's a first date, but it's a first date over 24 hours, and it was just so awesome to write. Because
Oh, that's so
yeah,
fun.
I was really excited about it because it's the first time I've ever done something like this where, because usually my romances take a place over like weeks and months, which is the normal progression of a relationship. So getting them to fall in love in that first 24 hours was a really great experience and challenge. And I really hope readers like that and respond to that because I really worked hard on getting it there.
Sometimes I think it's definitely fun and unique to have something in a short period of time versus the long haul. It's definitely more like a fun, quick
Yeah,
read, right? When it's just 24 hours, that's all we have to deal with them. And we know that we're going to get a happy ending.
exactly. Yes. And I mean, especially for Christmas, right? It's just it's a good way to kind of get into the Christmas spirit because you get a book that is going to give you basically everything you'd get from a sort of a normal non-Christmas book, but with the festivity and the fun and the emotion built into it. So yeah, that's why it was awesome for me to write. I know I keep saying that, but it really, really was. It was just such an amazing experience because yeah, it really challenged me as an author, but it was also very rewarding.
So, what was your favorite character in this book? Who was your favorite to write for?
Angie, absolutely. Really, I really went to town with making her respond to people in a way that I wish I could. So that was really just a great experience to write someone
Hmm.
who didn't have to worry about people's opinions, which is what I tend to do in real life. So be having someone who was as free as her was really freeing for me. which is what I always tell authors. Like, we write and we go to therapy in our writing, and we get free therapy through doing that, because we put out all of our issues and all of our like kind of fears, and we work through it, and that's part of the job. That's one of the more exciting parts of the job. Or maybe exciting is not the right word.
Therapy through writing. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you can ask any author, and they'll tell you, yeah, there's absolutely a way of like working through your feelings when you write.
Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to share about A Wedding One Christmas before we move on to the next segment?
Well, I just enjoyed writing it because it was, like I said, a Christmas romance in South Africa. So when I was writing it, I tried to think of what Christmas in South Africa would be like, and that was weddings for me, and food and community and lots of comedic sort of moments, and that's everything that you'll find in this book. So when you're reading it, you'll really be able to feel like you're here. And yeah, I really hope people enjoy it.
So next, I'd like to ask you if you have any advice for aspiring writers, or, writers that are looking to become authors out there. As you've published a few books, I thought you might have some insight for them.
I do, and thank you for asking. I want to tell them to read. Like, read whatever genre you are aiming to write in, because that's how you're going to find your voice, for one, and that's the most important thing. Like, you'll find out what themes you enjoy, what you want to write, what emotion or what level of emotion you want to write, what really speaks to you. I think that's why I like Nora Roberts, for example, because she has such a natural way of telling stories, and that's what I related to. So I kind of knew that the stories that she was writing would be the kind of stories I'd like to write. And that's the second most important thing, is to kind of figure out where you fit, so that when you are selling yourself or sort of trying to get a book sold or published, and you can tell someone like, okay, so the type of stories you see here is the type of stories I write. And that's important in both for you as an author, so that you know what you want to do, and also for you as an entrepreneur, because authors are basically self-employed, right? Because we have to figure out where we need to do. And that's it's a more top level skill, because you'll be able to tell yourself, okay, this is where I fit, this is how I can be marketed. And that's a really important aspect that nobody actually warns you about when you just get published. Like, you have to have a brand, and you have to, and I mean, that'll come. So you don't have to have it right now, but knowing is an excellent start, and it's something you can do just by reading.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Even outside of the publishing arena, we all have a brand, and we all have to be able to talk about what our brand
Absolutely.
is and what we can contribute.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very hard for writers. Like, this job is not easy. Honestly, I'm a full-time author. I've been a full-time author for 2 years, and I'm only kind of finding myself in this job now. And I've written 10 books. I have 10 books that are going to be published. There'll be 2 next year out, but I have been here for a while, and I'm still like, oh my word, what am I going to do next? Like, can I still write? And so giving yourself these small tools and small, like putting tools into your toolbox that will help you move in that world and in that space is something that you'll never regret. So knowing that before you even get into it is awesome.
That is great advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so the last part is the lightning round. Are you ready to do the lightning round?
Yes, I'm ready. I've been looking forward to this all day.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'll run the rules down also for the listeners as well. So it's 60 seconds, and you just answer as many questions as you can. Some are book related, some are not. Some questions are open-ended, and others require you to pick one or the other.
Okay.
The only rule is that you must choose.
Okay.
You can't say neither, and you can't say both.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Physical books or ebooks?
Ebooks.
Hero or villain?
Hero.
Beer or wine?
Oh, wine.
Bookstore or library?
Library.
Android or Apple?
Android.
Vodka or gin?
Oh, I've had neither of these things, so I'm like, vodka.
Go with vodka.
Yeah. Okay.
If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard. Lucky. To be lucky.
Ooh, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Cliffhanger or realistic ending?
Oh, realistic ending.
Hot chocolate with or without marshmallows?
Without.
Drive
No,
or
with.
fly?
Your mind, sorry.
You changed
With
your mind?
marshmallows. Yes, yes, yes. The pressure got to me. With marshmallows, and I would like to fly.
Awesome. And what is your favorite food?
Oh, pasta.
Ooh, time's up.
Yay! I really wanted to
Yay!
get through as many as I could.
You did really well. So what
Thank
kind of
you.
pasta? I'm curious.
Oh, lasagna.
Mm. I make an amazing lasagna. Just ask my mom.
I am going to, like, if I'm ever anywhere in your vicinity, I will expect pasta. I will expect lasagna.
And I will make it for you because everyone hounds me to make it constantly.
Oh, that definitely sounds like you make a good pasta, a good lasagna.
Yeah.
That's my specialty as well, yeah. And I make it a little bit different. I cheat a bit because I don't use the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
But I use everything else exactly the same. It's just the sheets that I don't do because it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there's still a lot of cheese and sauce, and it's just amazing. So yeah, I spoil myself with that occasionally.
Yum. Excellent. Fellow cook in the house.
Oh no, just that meal. Like that's the only one I can
Oh,
do.
just that. Okay.
I do not cook like my husband cooks. That is the only meal I can make, but I do it really well, so I feel like that should count for something.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Therese, before we sign off for the evening?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun talking to you.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Okay, everyone, be sure to follow Therese on social media. Pick up a copy of A Wedding One Christmas. The links to find her and to purchase the book are below in the show notes. And until next time, happy reading. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.